Alright, so I'm going to try something a little different this time with my videos. I'm going to try doing some live commentary on one of the complete animation videos I've made. So, Bambi 1 and 2, where to even start? These are interesting movies. They are, it's like, they have depth. They aren't exactly character stories, you know? It's like, yes, there are characters. Yes, they do have plot and progression. I mean, Bambi goes from being born all the way to being a father himself. But these aren't... The movies aren't exactly just character driven. I don't... That sounds weird, but it's how I feel about it. Yeah, but of all the characters in Bambi 1 and 2, I think that the Great Prince is the one that is the most interesting, and that's why I made this video that's basically the complete animation of him. My original cut of this video was a bit longer, I think 3 minutes longer, because in it I included all of the clips that were exactly, like, that had the Great Prince in it at all. If the Great Prince's form appeared in it at all, I included it. But that ended up having a whole lot of instances where it was another character standing around, usually Bambi, and it was just the Great Prince's legs. In Bambi 2, there's a whole lot of the Great Prince that doesn't have him moving at all. Here's pretty fun. This is where the Great Prince and Bambi are together and Bambi's all grown up. But weird thing about deer, they really are just like, the trunk of their body is so disproportionate to how long and thin their legs are, just like horses. They really are very lanky. The scene where they're running away from the fire is very interesting. It's basically the longest that we get to see the Great Prince and Bambi together in the first movie. The animation of the first movie is actually pretty impressive considering what had come before and what technology they had to work with. But yeah, like I was saying before, Bambi 1 and 2 aren't so... Bambi 2 is different, but Bambi 1 really isn't about the characters. It's a love story from the people who made the movie to the American wilderness. Similar to Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron later on. So, now we're going into Bambi 2 territory. I really don't understand why people don't like this movie. I think it's because they haven't seen it. If people had actually sat down and watched this movie, they would hold it in much higher regard than they do now. Like, for me, I remember... Man, this came out in 2006, so yeah, when this movie was coming out and I saw the commercials for it, it's like, you know, I was in 6th grade. 12-year-old doesn't want to have to worry about Bambi or anything. It was very much a movie that I didn't want to see. And the commercials for it didn't help either because it did the kids commercial thing of just showing them with their friends and their high-pitched voices running away from a porcupine or whatever. But the summer of 2016, I was house sitting for my aunt and uncle, taking care of their 3 cats and their dog. And I looked at their DVD collection, and Bambi 2 was in it. And I just said, what the heck? Actually, they had a lot of Disney sequels in there, like Brother Bear 2, Fox and the Hound 2. I have things to say about those movies as well. Maybe I'll get around to talking about them, but of all the Disney sequels, this one is my favorite. Of the straight-to-video Disney sequels. And part of it is just how absolutely gorgeous the animation is. Look at the Great Prince's face. He's like, ugh. And the fact that they got Patrick Stewart to do his voice, I don't even know. This movie is a very well animated movie. It's just, if you took somebody who thinks it's just a dumb cartoon and you had them watch this cut that I've made of it and just say, look, I know you don't care about the story, and I know you don't care about, the artistic expression of being a love letter to American wilderness. Just look at how these characters move, look at how they're drawn, and, these are characters, they move. Just look at them. Tell me that it isn't well done. And basically everybody will say, fine, it is. It is well done. But, yeah. So, Bambi 1 is a very interesting movie, and Bambi 2 sort of deviates from it. It goes less from being a story about the forest to being more focused on the characters in the narrative. But Bambi 2 basically keeps the forest. It keeps the forest intact and then just emphasizes narrative on top of it. And, yeah. So, The Great Prince. Why do I think that The Great Prince is the most interesting character? It's because he's big. He's literally the largest character that you ever see in the entire 2 films. Why don't you ever see any predators in this? It's the only danger that any of the animals ever face. The only thing that's coming for their blood is humans and their dogs. But because of the way things go, the Great Prince is literally the largest character in the entire thing, and he's basically the most powerful except for man. I think there's probably some artistic things to say about that fact. This scene is really interesting with all the lighting and whatever. Before, in Bambi 1, when Bambi and his mom and the Great Prince are running away from a hunter in the meadow, that was the first and only time, I think, that you see the entire family kind of being together, mother, father, son. So, an interesting thing is because of how, animal relationships work, they always talk about Bambi's mother as just Bambi's mother. The Great Prince never refers to her as a mate or a wife. It's really interesting. At least in things like The Lion King, you get to refer to Nala as the queen, the king and queen, which is a formal thing. Oh, this scene. I love this scene. This scene is so good. Wish I could continue it on. Just the Great Prince standing in the rain. Ugh. There's Friend Owl. Man, Friend Owl. He had some really crazy lines in Bambi 1. They kept his eccentricness intact in Bambi 2, but they really just didn't make him as absolutely crazy as he was in Bambi 1. So, it's like the Great Prince always stays in character. He's like, I am, the most dignified creature around, and it's my job to protect everyone. And he does that unfailingly. So, I could say a lot of things about these movies. The Great Prince is not the only character who is exceptionally animated. Bambi himself is really well done. But the Great Prince just takes the show. It's like, compared to everything else out there, the Great Prince is the one. Like, I really should be talking more about other stuff in these movies, but the Great Prince just really... What else is there to talk about while the Great Prince is there to talk about? But... yeah. These facial expressions that he has, like momentary lapses in the dignity that he strives so hard to maintain. It's very... yeah. Man, the Great Prince's face. It's just, I don't know what to say. Maybe doing these live recordings isn't the best thing. I should go back to doing my old format of typing up a well thought out script, edited, and yeah, it takes a long time to write a script and do the voice for it. I love how his ear just pops over there. Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to go back to doing a script unless people like this sort of free-form way of doing commentary. And the reason why I have to do commentary is because I have to do commentary to make the movie actually fair use. Because YouTube decided that my, the complete animation of videos with their regular audio and stuff intact didn't count as fair use. But if I do commentary with all these super disjointed clips, I'm pretty sure I can get it to say, yes, this is fair use. So now we come to the part of the movie where Bambi and the Great Prince, start to really bond. And let me tell you, this is all a music bit right here. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the music in the first movie, mostly because of how lo-fi everything is. If they'd have been able to record everything with modern, or at least more modern, like 1950s onward audio equipment, it would have sounded much, much better. The singing and the voices, but mostly the singing, because they're all these, big choir pieces. They're okay, I'm just not a big fan of them. I outright do not like the music in Bambi 2, the songs, which is a real shame because of the very opening sequence. They had, a callback to the first movie's style with the humming of Long is the Song That Never Ends, but then that they just completely left that alone, that style alone for the rest of the movie, and it was nothing but some really stuff I don't even like. It's a shame to see such a well-animated movie be dragged down by music I dislike so much. Yeah. Now the Great Prince is starting to be more conversational, and man, the lip sync in this movie is incredible. It's just like, cheap animation when you see it, and one of the hallmarks of a cheaper animation style is having a stationary jaw on the face, and usually a very simply shaped face as well. Not many cartoons that come out these days have characters that are as detailed as this, with a dynamic jaw. And even though the jaw on the Great Prince doesn't move that much, because he doesn't open his mouth that much to speak, he still does move it. And I know it's harder. I know why people don't do it. Not that there's anything wrong with the new way. It's different art style and it works in its medium, but man, I really like this stuff. Because, man, the art style of Bambi 1 and 2 is just... It's like, here are fairly real proportioned animals. Except for Bambi, his muzzle is way too short. But everything else, his body, the Great Prince's body, all correctly proportioned with minimal anthropomorphization. Is that the right way to say that? Fun thing, Mina, the doe that Friend Owl found to be Bambi's replacement mother, she's voiced by the same actress who did Kida in Atlantis. She's actually a really prolific voice actress, and I can't remember what her name is, but she did so many voices. A bunch of TV, but I think my favorite of hers is Kida from Atlantis, The Lost Empire. And again, it always amazes me that they got Patrick Stewart to voice the Great Prince. Perfect cast. The Great Prince's nose always interests me. Always makes me think about how real animal noses look, and how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer would look so much cooler if he had a regular nose that could just light up bright as the sun to, be a spotlight in front of him, instead of the cartoon, bulb. I hate that bulb. Nobody's nose is a little circle at the end of their nose like that. At the end of their face, I mean. So, coming up is going to be a scene where, Bambi seems to have died, and it's really touching. But it's been pointed out before, and I'll have to point it out again, that if you're doing an in-between-quel or a prequel to a movie where a character isn't dead, you cannot, do a fake-out death. You just can't. It's so... I think they did it in, the Little Mermaid movie that isn't Little Mermaid 2. I haven't ever seen that movie, I've just heard about it. But I will say that this scene is really good for highlighting the Great Prince. Finally letting him show emotions that he has had bottled up for forever. Yeah. So I like the scene, but I don't like how they included it as being a part of an in-between-quel like this. I kind of wish that they would have ended the movie as Bambi being an adult, because I'd like to see his adult form animated by these people. Because these people have been able to maintain the animation style of the first movie just so well. Yeah. I like these movies. Not because they're perfect, they're not. I don't like their stories that much. Um, I don't like the audio quality of the first movie, but I guess when you've learned to just love animation for what it is, like you love animation for animation's sake, just characters moving, when that's a taste that you've developed, then even movies like Bambi 1 and 2 can be things that you really like. And I really liked that turning thing they just did. Oh, I guess the movie's over. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. If you liked this rambling commentary, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.